to check the settings and make sure. Yeah, okay. Alright, I'll be monitoring this on my cellular unit. I didn't really have a specific goal in mind. I just wanted to sort of play Spider-Man and talk a little bit about what's going on right now in comic books and whatnot, movies, the like. Alright, kind of watching the screen now, I promise.
10:30, we've got an armed robbery in progress.
I never ignore one of these
Additional
in the game.
officers requested
I
near Flatiron.
respond to every crime. Otherwise, it's like you're not even playing Spider-Man. Well, I mean, to each his own, of course. But to me, it's like you're not getting the authentic Spider-Man experience unless you take it seriously enough to actually respond to every crime.
Gentlemen, afraid I've got to ask you to leave
That's
the
a
store.
pedestrian. Sorry, fella. Alright. Yeah, so Marvel Zombies Resurrection, man, it's a weird situation. See, the interesting thing is with, like, the original Marvel Zombies, why that was good in the context of Ultimate Fantastic Four issues 21 to 23 or whatever that arc was that we didn't see how everything started. We didn't get any information about the universe. It just was what it was. Just like a concept to be explored out there somewhere in the multiverse. But I feel like the Marvel Zombies concept really went downhill the moment they got their own series. Like the moment they stopped being an Ultimate Fantastic Four and they started doing their own entity within the Marvel cosmos. I just feel like, you know, it's too contrived. Like there's no way in like really any conceivable universe with these characters that they would be infected in such a manner, and especially so easily.
Gotta be a special kind of crazy to rob a
especially when you have so many like
protects.
super geniuses running around, like Peter Parker, Reed Richards, Tony Stark, Kingpin,
Sit
Henry
tight, guys.
McCoy,
A nice
all these
patty
people who
wagon
are
will be
like
here soon.
perfectly qualified to be solving problems like that. And in fact, Peter Parker would eventually come up with, it would be the one to come up with like a cure, so to speak, to the zombie plague. But I don't know. It's contrived, if you ask me. Like for Luke Cage, for example, how do you bite Luke Cage? Is a question I want to know. How do you bite the Hulk? How do you bite Thor? You know. I guess the Sentry could do all the like. The thing is, they had to introduce the Sentry as like Patient Zero, which doesn't necessarily make sense either. But yeah, I guess Sentry could bite some of those people, but like, not really. Because I think Carol Danvers is one of the first people in that book to be infected. And I mean, I'm talking about the original Marvel Zombies here, I'm not talking about the current one, I'll get to that. But Carol Danvers is like the first one bitten, if I'm not mistaken, either her or Captain America. And, like, so you've got the Sentry, he was in like an incredibly powerful being, but I still feel like it's feasible that he still couldn't like bite through her skin. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem like something that's terribly realistic in the context of the mythos that Marvel's established. I'm just trying to read that comment. It's not coming up. Hold on. Sorry. That's my buddy Christopher. He's saying, this is bullshit. I want the stream without the bullshit. That's an inside joke. Don't worry about that. That's not harassment. I'm okay. But yeah. Anyway, so the original Marvel Zombies, it's convoluted. They deal with time travel and multiverses and all that ridiculous business in that, which sort of gets away from the premise to begin with. But magical plague may counter natural resistance, like with Superman. Yeah, you know, I'm honestly, I think Deceased is it's not magical, by the way. It's like pseudo magical, I think, in Marvel Zombies, because it comes from the Evil Dead universe, which is, I guess, cool. But sorry, LP tax. I'm not actually paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm just talking. So yeah, you could argue that there's a mystical element to it, and indeed there is. But that was not like the original conceit. That was a retcon like years later. So I feel like lead the way. I feel like that that doesn't really count, you know, because that was introduced years after the initial. Not only the initial introduction of the Marvel Zombies, but indeed their initial comic book series. But yeah, whatever, man. Like, you got Black Panther, Hank Pym, Tony Stark, Reed Richards at one point before he decided to turn heel. All working on like this cure for years, and then like, you know, nobody finds a solution to it. But then like Peter Parker figures it out without seemingly a great deal of effort, which is fine. You know, Peter Parker's really fucking smart. He's like one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe. But I feel like you can either have it one way or the other. Either it's like it's not a thing that can be dealt with, or it is. Because like, you know, Hank Pym and Reed Richards are Hank Pym and Reed Richards. And Doctor Doom, of course, didn't find a solution on it either.
You earned it.
Whatever, man. Either way, like the story has to happen, so it makes sense that Peter had to be the one to do it, since everybody else was like he's the only good person left, I guess. I don't know. It's just a weird story in general. I'm not a fan of Marvel. Marvel Zombies is among my least favorite comic books, not because it's necessarily that poorly written, although it kind of is a lot of the time. But I'm not paying attention at all. That's why everything's going so slow. I'm sorry, this must be boring. But
it's less painful this way.
You know, it just I don't want to see my heroes like that in general. You know, I feel like dwelling on that. Watching Peter eat Aunt May and Mary Jane, watching Reed Richards infect his family. It's really messed up. It's not what I want out of my superhero comics, right? Anyway, it's just not my cup of tea. I understand why people do like it, because it is inherently like a badass concept. But moving on to Marvel Zombies Resurrection before we get into the Venom 2 situation and all that business. Marvel Zombies Resurrection is arguably less contrived, because we don't know like what's going on yet, and the at least the superheroes are sort of like ambushed, but like it doesn't make sense that the Illuminati, who's headed by like Reed Richards, Hank McCoy, Tony Stark, who are some of the smartest people on the planet, that like they would just run into a situation like that without thinking about it first, without having some sort of contingency. But yeah, anyway, so they run into a trap, and somehow the Human Torch is the first one to be bitten. Because so basically Carol Danvers is using Galactus as a sort of spaceship, even though she has no scientific background, so I guess she's got somebody else with her dealing with that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She's like patient zero for this story, and she sort of infects the other heroes by sending out a distress call and then trapping them.
Spider-Man, I just checked. There's been a rash of counterfeit bills in that neighborhood.
Counterfeit?
Friendly
That's
neighborhood.
a dying art.
Really.
I'll do my part to make it extinct.
Anyway, so she traps them, and then she like they all sort of get infected in a very short time span, with the exception of like Reed Richards, who we don't see infected, and Ben Grimm, who we don't see infected, but it's sort of implied that they are infected once we pan away. So we cut back to Earth, and we see like Peter Parker, who's like basically Earth's scientist, and he doesn't know about this situation yet, and he's sort of playing chess with Valeria Richards, and she's just sort of like leveling with him. She's just sort of like discussing her frustrations with like her father and stuff like that. Her situation, her life as like a young superhero, and who better to understand that than Peter Parker, right? But yeah, so they're playing chess and they're talking, and Franklin is reading like some sort of book on mathematics
Guys!
when the Marvel zombies return to Earth, the newly infected zombies return. Oh, and Thor gets infected too by Gladiator, which is a bit like okay. I like because then the question is, how do you infect the Gladiator, because the Gladiator is so insanely powerful. But I honestly don't think we're going to get an answer to that, but we might. But yeah, so Captain Marvel and blah blah blah, they're all coming to Earth. We don't know if Reed Richards is alive. He should be, because he's stretchy, but that didn't do anything for him in the original book, so I don't know, man. It really doesn't make much sense, you ask me. They didn't have Moon Girl and Riri, the smartest people on the planet, to save them from the Marvels. Because Moon Girl and Riri are not the smartest people on the planet. Yeah, that is the movie suit, Chris. That's the upgraded suit from Far From Home. He takes the Stark Tech design and he basically revamps it and makes it all cool and whatnot. Yeah, no, that's because Underworld Dream. That's because Riri William and Moon Girl are not the smartest people. Moon Girl thinks she is, despite the fact that she hasn't really done anything. She basically she solved a Rubik's Cube devised by Bruce Banner, who's not the smartest person on the planet, and because she solved basically a Rubik's Cube, she's like, yeah, I'm real freaking smart and everybody is beneath me. And she's like, she's such a cunt. She's like an 8-year-old girl, and she's really patronizing and condescending toward other scientists and other people in the Marvel Universe because she thinks she's better than them, because she's poorly written SJW trash along with Riri. But at least Riri doesn't claim to be the absolute smartest person. But yeah, no, definitively Reed Richards is the smartest person. And there's over 50 years of precedent behind that is the difference.
Everything's quiet here now, Captain.
I don't mind
That's
them
one more
introducing
revenue
new
stream
characters who
Wilson
are also
Fisk
smart,
can't
but
use
it has
pay
to be
his
earned.
lawyers.
Otherwise, it's insulting to the characters, their creators, and their legacy. Anyway, yeah, I've pretty much exclusively been streaming. I'll stream Deadpool probably at some point because I haven't finished acting yet. But yeah, I've just been playing free roam Spider-Man. Obviously, I beat it a long time ago, but it's just such a fun game, and I haven't touched it in a while, so that's why I've been streaming this. It's just one of the games I sort of mindlessly play in the background. Chris, you get to come over and play this game at some point because it's good. But yeah, so there's a crime that was unreported. I'm on it. But basically, that's the situation with Marvel Zombies. We'll see what happens next. Franklin Richards is still there, but so I feel like because the situation is with
An assault.
with the original Marvel Zombies, if they had Franklin Richards die immediately and off panel in the origin story, because he's the most powerful being in the universe, and he has matter manipulation ability and literally creates universes with his mind and shit. So it makes sense that they had to do that to him, because otherwise it's just completely infeasible. But now Franklin Richards, it seems like he's going to be the one confronting the zombies, so there's no reason that they should be those are civilians, I'm not paying attention. There's no reason that there should be any sort of difficulty, because Franklin Richards is Franklin Richards. And I'm not just saying that because I have a massive bonus for the Fantastic Four, but Franklin Richards is definitively the most powerful being. And you could say that he doesn't have control of his powers, which is the reason for him not doing a lot of stuff previously in the Marvel Universe. But this is supposed to take place in a continuity very much the same, for all intents and purposes, as the primary Marvel Universe in its current state. That is to say, this is a Franklin Richards who has mastered his ability.
I love laying out bullies.
Check it out. Yeah, anyway, so we'll see what happens with that. I won't purchase the book. I'll read about it online, just because I don't want to financially support a book I don't support in any other facet. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough about Marvel Zombies, because I can't stop ranting about that sort of concept. And if I don't stop myself now, I'm not going to stop.
Attention units, there is a reported narcotic sale in progress.
Why haven't the smartest people in the world killed AIDS? It kills lots of gay people. Because the Marvel Universe, is different from our Earth, right? Like, because there's a lot of precedent for the characters in the Marvel Universe solving these type of problems. Like, for example, like I said, in the original Marvel Zombies universe, Peter Parker figured out, like, how to stop the zombies. Like, he was the one who devised the cure for zombie Wolverine and everything like that. So, I mean, like, there's a lot of precedent. Also, Spider-Man was also the one who cured the carrion virus in Clone Conspiracy. Or Ben Reilly, who was a clone of Peter Parker, one of the two. Either way, it was Peter Parker's mind that did that. He also cured the Lizard on several occasions. Reed Richards has been known to, like, cure space cancer at one point, in an attempt to save the life of the original Captain Marvel. God, I'm dying because I'm not paying attention. What's my superpower right now? And, obviously Bruce Banner and Hank Pym also have extraordinary abilities as far as biochemistry goes as well, although Bruce Banner has had some pretty tremendously bad luck. Jump off the Empire State? Yeah, at some point I will. I don't want an electric punch. That's lame. I try to stick. There's a lot of gadgets in this game. I sort of try to stay away from those because I feel like it's more fun to just go at it in a very normal, combative way. Because at some point you're just like you're spamming them. I feel like. Let's see. Where's the shield? There it is. Defense shield. Okay, I'll get that for now. So I don't die here. But yeah, like there's it's really cool actually. You can use the Iron Spider suits, both the comic one and the film one, and you can use the legs in them as well, which is cool. Ow! What happened to the shield? But yeah, there's a lot of precedent for that sort of thing anyway. It should also be noted that Peter Parker devised a cure for his own powers in high school, in case, because Peter Parker's like, Peter Parker's an excellent forward thinker, most of the time. So when Peter Parker got his powers initially, he understood that there was a very real chance that they could have some sort of biological backfire in the future. So in high school, he devised a cure for his own powers in case the event ever came, wherein his powers did negatively affect him. So like I said, there's a lot of precedent for these sort of characters solving that kind of problem, and they're like the characters in Marvel are, and Victor Von Doom, of course, goes without saying. I believe Tony Stark devised a cure for the Extremis virus. My point is, in saying this, is that people in the Marvel Universe are significantly smarter than our smartest people in the real world. So it's a different standard. But yeah, Venom 2. Who's excited? Because I'm not. I'm excited in that it looks like we're going to get a Spider-Man confrontation in this new film. But I mean, and that's really what we deserve, is we deserve a Venom movie with Spider-Man in it, because Venom is a shallow, hollow character in those movies when you compare it to his comic book counterpart, who's like a tortured soul with a deep-rooted connection to Spider-Man and his mythos. But nonetheless, it looks like we will be getting that to some capacity, in that there will be a Spider-Man element. I don't know how they're going to get them to fight. It's going to have to be one of those sort of contrivances in like the old Marvel team-up books, where they have like a misunderstanding and that leads them to fight. Because Venom is an anti-hero, that is to say, like, for all intents and purposes, he does he would be considered a hero by many. So I don't know why Peter would go all the way to or why he would go all the way to New York to fight Peter, or maybe there's like some sort of situation where Peter thinks like he's being too much of an anti-hero or something like that. Nonetheless, the situation would be such that they'd have to fight somehow, obviously, because you can't just have a Spider-Man Venom team-up movie without having them fight, especially because Venom is inarguably one of Spider-Man's most iconic stories. But then again, I would have also argued that you can't have a Venom movie without Spider-Man either, and I still stand by that to some capacity, because that's not a good movie. Right, Chris? But yeah, my mom watched that the other day as well, and like she has no critical ability at all, and even she wasn't a fan of Venom. I'm not saying it's like an objectively bad cinematic piece, because it's actually shot quite well, and there are some scenes that are fairly impressive, given the budget. But it's just not like, it's so hollow, it's such a hollow shell of what that story should be and what that story has the potential to be, with or without Spider-Man, and they screw the pooch entirely in that matter. Just to be clear, for those who maybe haven't played this game, I'm not murdering these people. I'm not murdering these people I'm throwing off the building. Whenever I throw somebody off the building, Peter, here I'll show you, Peter like attaches something to them and they get webbed to a wall.
No, for real, I need rent money.
One could argue that would still, the concussive force, not only that, but like the inertia of like the downward inertia, and then all of a sudden being jerked all the way to the side. That much energy could like potentially liquefy your organs, unless you were lathered in like oobleck or something. But that said as well, like, you know, the concussive force of your body hitting the wall would most likely explode your ribcage from the inside. But you know, whatever. It's a video game. I mean, Peter. There's no way Peter would be even able to like punch these guys in the way he's doing it. It's a well-known fact that Peter pulls all of his punches all the time, always. Otherwise, he would explode people's faces whenever he punched them, because he can bench press a city bus. But like, even so, look at the way he's beating these poor men. He's like, that's like a 50-foot minimum distance. I just punched that guy.
Bad haircuts, excessive cologne. Yep, more fish goons. Enough.
Yeah, Venom 2. Obviously it's going to have Carnage in it. They set that up, so maybe Spider-Man will assume that like Venom is the same as Carnage, and then he'll try to fight both of them. But then he'll realize that inevitably, like, Carnage is just too powerful for him to face alone. So they'll have to they'll have to team up to defeat him. But the situation is as well that, like, we don't know legally yet whether or not this is a legally distinct entity of a Tom Holland Spider-Man, or this is going to be definitively the Marvel Cinematic Tom Holland, which puts us in another weird place, because if this movie is coming out like it's planned to before Far From Home, it's going to be it's either going to be very nebulous as to where it takes place in the timeline, or it's going to have to take place after the events of Spider-Man 3, and I won't spoil what happens at the end of Far From Home because Chris hasn't seen it yet, but like, the situation is such that it's left on a cliffhanger that's rather unresolved, and so excuse me, you would in turn be spoiling the outcome of that. Not that Marvel seems to care much about those cliffhangers in Spider-Man movies anyway, because the cliffhanger in Far From Home where May figures out Peter's identity because she doesn't trigger spider sense, that's completely thrown out the window. We don't get any sort of payoff or conclusion to that, unfortunately.
Everything's quiet here now, Captain.
Great. That's one more revenue stream Wilson Fisk can't use to pay his lawyers.
People in the Marvel Universe are maybe smarter, well, except the X-Men. We did 2008 to decide. Yeah, yeah, but to be fair, the X-Men were also like largely secret identities, so it's the same situation with Spider-Man, where like you have to sort of legally reveal your identity to be able to claim an intellectual property. I guess Charles could do that, but up until the Morrison run, Charles Xavier was not a known mutant, if I recall. It was not known that he was anything more than a geneticist with an interest in mutant kind. When was the Morrison run? 2001? Or something like that? 2001, 2003, 2004, something like that? Either way, yeah, no, I get what you're saying, though. That's a good point. But yeah. That's the same reason Peter Parker doesn't do that, is because it's just something he can do without revealing his identity. That has been broken for the entire game. They've not fixed that. This is a pretty like beautiful map as well. I gotta say, this is good. As I say that, I come across like the absolute worst texture in the game.
Pedestrian if I don't do something.
But yeah, this is a really beautiful game. What else is coming up for 2021 or 2020? I think canon that Wilson Fisk owns merchandise right to Spider. Is that true? That's hilarious. That's rich. I like that a lot.
Pedestrian trapped under that vehicle.
Which raises some morally nebulous situations as well, because Mary Jane has Spider-Man t-shirts and mugs and plushies and stuff. So it's like, is she giving her money sort of indirectly to Wilson Fisk?
Spider-Man! There's a bunch of guys.
One a penny. I wonder if that's a real place. Or like a parody of a real place.
Need to find the people who caused this. They've still got to be nearby.
Yeah, Peter's AI in his suit is like stupidly advanced in this game. It's not like an AI in that it's sentient, but it's stupidly advanced in that it can like, from hundreds and hundreds of meters away, it can like, it's like Daredevil in that it can like cancel out other sounds and focus on really specific sounds. Oh, look, it's a sign twirler. Sign twirler. Words are hard, aren't they? Boy, are words difficult.
Gotta catch up.
LP tax. I'm just gonna blame LP tax.
Guys, that pile up was a doozy.
But yeah, no, the 2020 lineup doesn't look terrific so far. I don't know if I'm missing some stuff, but as far as I know, the only movies coming out, is Black Panther 2 coming out next year? I don't think so. But I think the only comic book movies coming out next year are Venom 2, Wonder Woman, Black Widow, and Morlun. Is that correct? I could be wrong about that. Morlun, I'm not at all excited for. I think Morlun should go, suck a fat one. That is to say a vein, because he's a vampire, okay. Get your head out of the gutter. But, actually, hold on, let me show you the Iron Spider suit. But yeah, no, I'm not excited for the Morlun movie at all. It's going to be like another situation, unless it was in the deal somewhere to have Spider-Man in it again, which is fine. I'll take it if Spider-Man's in it, I guess. And if we get some sort of Blade reference as well, that'd be nice. The thing is, we don't know yet whether these new Sony films going forward are going to be connected to the MCU, or they're going to be in some sort of adjacent reality. That's sort of up to debate as is right now. But yeah, if indeed Spider-Man is in the Morlun movie, it could be decent. I don't necessarily trust Jared Leto. I haven't seen him in much other than Suicide Squad, and I think we can all have a... Oh, Birds of Prey is coming out next year as well. I forgot about that. I think we can all agree that that performance was suboptimal, to say the least. But yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see how he does with Michael Morbius. He's doing another weird accent in this one, or he has to, that is to say. You want to see something cool, guys? Check this out. Initiate instant kill! Mr. Stark told me to beat you to death! You guys see that meme? Ouch. I almost do worse with the legs because I'm too busy like just smashing buttons instead of actually thinking out what it is I'm trying to accomplish. But boy, do they look freaking swell. Anyway, yeah, no, the Moreland movie. I'm not looking forward to that at all.
Well, they are going to jail, so...
I think it's very likely that that's going to be how you say utter horseshit. And I say that because unless it's being overseen by Feige or something like that, it's going to be like another shallow Spider-Man-less villain movie as far as we know right now. There's no public plans to have Spider-Man make an appearance, even though his origins are intricately tied to that of Spider-Man. But you know, whatever. He's just another heartless catch. I don't think people are going to go see Moreland in the way they assume they're going to, because Venom has like a recognizability that Moreland just does not have. Like, I doubt that anybody really knows who Moreland is aside from like hardcore comic book fans or people who saw the animated series back in the 90s. But like, you know, even people who saw that animated series, like, he wasn't terrific in that either. And I just don't think that people are going to want to invest $15 to go and see this in the theater. Or at least not the general public, and that's who you're trying to appeal to. Especially if it's another one of those heartless, soulless Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man. I really don't see that going well at all unless Spider-Man makes some significant appearance in the picture. Oh, cool.
Oh, what? It's not fun getting beat up? We'll sit with that for a while.
Thanks. I think I'll be okay.
Can't tell how long we're running. Anyway. Yeah, Birds of Prey 2, I'm not looking forward to that. The trailers don't look too terrible, but the characters are unrecognizable as the characters, and again, it's like a super heavy focus on Harley Quinn, which is annoying because these other characters arguably deserve greater screen time and dedication than she does, because not only has she already received basically her own picture in the form of Suicide Squad, but she's just not like, she doesn't have the same complexity and history as these other characters, like the Black Canary and Huntress do, or the Black Mask even. Like, if you want to focus on the villain, which I think you should, because the villain is incribly underwhelming in Suicide Squad.
Aren't trading baseball.
I just don't see that turning out to be super well liked either. The only difference is really that it's directed by James Gunn, who's obviously really awesome. But like, at the end of the day, if it's just a Harley Quinn movie, I don't really care. I want to see these other characters get their due on screen. And it seems like they're also ignoring the Jared Leto version of the character, the Joker character perhaps, in this film going forward, which is fine with me, but it's like, how does this take place in continuity at that point? Or whatever, man. I don't care. I'm not, like, I'll go see Wonder Woman at least. Wonder Woman, the first one was pretty decent, so the second one should be fine too. Wonder Woman was overall quite a strong picture with oh my god, Jesus Peter, with a pretty subpar ending. That's my take on the matter here. Taser webs. Oh, all right. Impact weapon, courtesy of Benjamin Riley. Looks much cooler on the little guy, so.
Fisk did keep these wannabe
I'm just looking out for the little guys, Mr. Stark.
What's that
One thing I like to do sometimes is I like to shoot
No.
folks with my impact webbing and then use this like concussive blast to knock them against the wall so that they're immediately webbed up. That's a cool strategy if you can do it correctly. If you've got like a lot of people on you and you're not too fussy about, you know, overusing the gadgets. I tend not to lean into the gadgets though if I can help it, because it's just, I think it takes away some of the challenge. The combat is really solid in this game, but I think I might like the combat in Ultimate more, just because it's more like, it feels more kinetic. It feels more like you're in control. And this is certainly not guided gameplay, but there are more animations. Jesus, there are more animations in this game than there are in that game, which is fine. But that's just my opinion on it. Both are excellent games, obviously. God, what a beautiful city. Avengers Tower looming in the correct location in the distance over there. Yeah, so, okay, so here's an interesting tidbit. So, right over there is where the Avengers Tower is in the comics. This is the comic version of Avengers Tower. And so that's where it's supposed to be, and it looks like it's supposed to, more or less. Over there, do you see that MetLife building over there? That building right there is the location of Avengers Tower in the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. Obviously, it's not that close to the Empire State Building in real life. Oh, I should jump off. Oh, by the way, Chris, this is the tallest building, so I'm going to jump off this rather than the Empire State Building. This is Freedom Tower, kind of. But yeah, that's where Avengers Tower is in the movies. But actually, in the comic books, this is the approximate location of the Baxter Building, home of the world-famous Fantastic Four. Would it actually be that little building, where that little building is, right next to, I say little building, it's like 30 fucking floors in the air. It's where, like, that building is, right below it. Also, one Vanderbilt is going, like, right there. But yeah, that's where the Baxter Building would be, right there, by MetLife. Where are we going? Peter, calm down. Here we go. It's hero time. Let's just pretend I didn't say that. Woo! There are moments when you do really feel exhilarated flowing through the city. Get the big guys out of the way. Or at least one of them out of the way. Oh! Actually, these gun guys, if there's somebody with a heavy gun, you want to get them out of the way too. That was Impact Weapon, by the way. Originally invented by Ben Riley, the Scarlet Spider. Ah!
Someone's trapped in that car.
There we go. That's used to its full effect right there. Ah! Oh, that lamppost got in the way. The taser web is a really good way to take down these big guys, but I just sort of like to do it more organically, personally. As far as the other movies go, I'm trying to think what I said was coming out at this juncture. What was what did I say was coming out? Hold on. Let me consult my my chat with Chris here.
Thugs who caused the record down, but people are still trapped.
Oh yeah, they are still trapped, aren't they? Oh yeah, Black Widow's coming out next year. Oh, also the Eternals. I don't care about the Eternals. I don't really know much about them other than they're like eternal creatures, like they're immortals that are based off like mythology and they're reincarnated every so many years and I don't remember who they are, blah 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 blah. Anyway, I don't really care about the Eternals. I'll watch the movie and hopefully it impresses me. I'm open to it, but like I just don't know much about the property, so I don't really care all that much. As far as Black Widow goes, though, that's probably the film I'm most excited about next year. In lieu of a Spider-Man Venom fight. But yeah, Black Widow could be pretty cool. I don't know. I think it would be arguably more interesting if they did it in if they did the trilogy during the 5 years of the blip. That is to say, the snap, where the world was sort of like in ruins and chaos. I think that would be really interesting. Like, how is she leading what's left of the Avengers in that time? How is she operating in a world with like half the population in this desolate shell of what Earth used to be? I think that would be interesting. But her origin is also quite interesting too, and I believe that's what this film is intended to be, as an origin picture. So I am excited for that. That it has to do with the Red Room project. Obviously, she has deep ties to Hydra as well, and I believe the KGB, so we'll see how that goes. I'd like to see a Matt Murdock appearance in that film, because he's such like an integral part of her character and her past. Oh, I just got another comment. But I doubt we'll see a Daredevil appearance or a Matt Murdock appearance to any extent. But yeah, I'd like to see that, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Let's see. The Eternals look too generic. They don't take Kirby characters. Yeah, I agree. The Kirby designs are the main selling point for the general populace, especially considering the lack of recognition for the Eternals' intellectual property. All you really have, God, that's gorgeous. Look at how gorgeous this game is. Look at Brooklyn over there. Look at Queens over there. God, this game is so gorgeous. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful game. Liberty Island, Ellis Island, Governor's Island. Got Staten Island over there. Over there, rather. We got Jersey. Actually, how detailed is New Jersey? Does it look as desolate as it does in real life? Oh, look, it does. That's Atlantic City, I think. Look at all those warehouses. Like, yeah. Jersey is not looked favorably upon in this game, obviously. They don't have Liberty, or Statue of Liberty Park, which is a part of Ocean City, which is approximately where I just shot that web. It seems to just be industry over there in this game. But yeah, no, I agree. The Jack Kirby elements of those characters, the designs and their mythos, as a result of Jack Kirby, are obviously the main selling points for those characters, because they're just not recognizable characters. I mean, they're less recognizable than the Inhumans ever were. If we're being honest with ourselves, and nobody saw the Inhumans. So, obviously the majority of Phase 4 is going to be on Disney+, but this is just not an impressive cinematic lineup, to say the least.
Officers needed at Tribeca. Please copy.
There must be... I gotta be missing something, I figure, because I think they're doing 4 films a year coming forward, but that might just start in 2021 with Spider-Man 3. I don't know. But yeah, as far as I know, it's just not an impressive lineup unless you count the Disney Plus stuff. I'm really excited for that. I can't wait to see where Captain America and Winter Soldier goes. Or where Falcon and Winter Soldier goes, rather. I can't wait to see where What If goes. Obviously, that's not a canonical part of the universe. It's like an alternate. It's MCU adjacent. I can't wait to see where that goes. There's going to be some exciting stuff there. I actually did a video on that where I wrote, like, I think it was 13 or 15 different like pitches for episodes. And I've thought about expanding on that because I've had several more ideas since then. But yeah, I can't wait for that. Can't wait for She-Hulk. We'll see how Ms. Marvel goes. Obviously, I'm not the biggest fan of that character, but I'm open to a TV show because characters that are not done very well in the comics typically are done better justice in at least the MCU films. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited to see Zemo return in Winter Soldier and Falcon. What else do we have coming to that? Oh, Hawkeye. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Hawkeye, I suppose. Kate Bishop can be a fun character when handled well. Obviously, Jeremy Renner is an incredibly likable Hawkeye. So we'll see where that goes. And obviously, Daredevil's coming back on game, whatever form that takes. I'd rather it not be a reboot, though. Finish the riddle. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Oh shit. It's not Are you making a reference to the misquote? Because that's one of those sort of famous misquotes in pop culture, isn't it? I think in the original text it was magic mirror on the wall, but cinematic adaptations since then have re-ascribed the quote to be a mirror. I don't think that's what you're talking about, but that's
Great patrolling, but I do have notes.
I'm not going to answer the way you hope probably that I'll answer on stream. Mirror, mirror on the... I'll give you one. Mirror, mirror on the wall. I'll let you take this one. I love that the spider arms just like tear through these big guys though. Even though there's no way that like in a realistic scenario that Peter Parker would have any problem with these big guys. They're the same as like an ant to him. Fun fact about Spider-Man, I mean obviously they can't do that in the game because there has to be degrees of challenge and whatnot. But fun fact in the game is, or in the comic set is, Spidey can actually move faster than the human eye can perceive. So like if he wants to beat the shit out of you in like multiple places at the same time, you wouldn't even notice until he's like halfway done. But obviously you have that sort of power level in the game, it's just not unless you're fighting like the Avengers or something. Nice.
Huh. Fisk did keep these wannabe pushers
Yeah, so
in
basically
check.
what my point is like there's no way these big guys would be able to block, and even if they were, Spider-Man could just like punch through their arms, causing them to explode with the concussive force of an atom bomb.
I wish there was a Spidey emoji I could put.
But yeah, no, I mean obviously that's dumb and you can't have it in the game, and Spider-Man always pulls his punches, so it's, you know, it's made feasible in that way, I suppose. The bridges look really good in this game as well. One thing that this game gets right that previous Spider-Man games just don't is like civic design. It's just city planning. Because it looks like it's always just sort of like the road or the bridge connecting to the road in previous games. But here you actually see like the on-ramps and the sort of interchanges that actually connect the city and make it function properly.
Support your local businesses by not
You know what was a surprisingly good like small scale, oh my god, small scale New York for what it was with the Disney Infinity games. You know, for what they were like kids games, they actually had a pretty fun map and a pretty detailed map, all things considered. Oh, Peter, focus. Nope, you got shot. Good thing you're wearing a suit of armor. Yeah, I think that's pretty much, you know, everything I had to say. So I think I'm gonna end this stream here, guys. Unless there's another comment or something that I haven't read yet.
Hope crime would decline post Fisk. Might have been too optimistic.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna end it there, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. I'll make a video at some point this week, I'm sure. I just gotta, you know, have something I want to talk about. That's the problem. Like, if the problem isn't like I don't want to work on videos or anything. It's just most of the time, if I'm not uploading for a few days, it's just because I don't have anything to talk about. I don't have anything that I'm like passionate enough to discuss at length, and I don't want to just like phone it in on something I don't genuinely care about because that's really disingenuous. But yeah. Anyway. So, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. You know, if you can put up with me, you're a goddamn champion. I'm like the verbal equivalent of New York. If you can survive me, you can survive anything, you know? Well, somebody left a comment. I can't see. Okay, there we go. Bye, Underworld Dream. Appreciate you tuning in, man. I'll talk to you guys later. All hail Oscorp. All hail God King Doom.